These thoughts up in my head, things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm your host, Ed, and as always, journey with me as we pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. And here we are. Happy 2024. If you are on this side of the new year, alive, being able to see things, blessed, it's a good feeling. So grateful for all of you. I also want to take the time to say thank you to everybody who rocked with me in 2023. I saw growth as far as followers and things and people who commented, and I just really appreciate the fact that that's happening. I'm trying to do my best with what I got. So, as this podcast continues, we want to do our best to make sure that things are good, right? So, obviously, thank you once again for the support. And for those of you that have just discovered me or figured out what's going on, who am I, what am I about? Listen, we're trying to pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. There's so much craziness that's happening. There's so many things that go on the outside world, but then there's also things that are happening in your own mind, things that you're thinking about. Maybe you're overthinking, maybe you're worried, maybe you're anxious. And I'm just trying to find ways for us to be able to ease out of that, so that way we can continue on with the plans that God has for us, so we can move forward with our lives, be the best version that we can be, okay? If you've been here for a while, I appreciate the support. Thank you for rocking with me. I pray that you've been spreading the word and getting that out. If you're new, simple concept, trying to pursue that greatness in a world full of chaos with everything going on around us, we're trying to keep it simple. Also, if you're new here, a couple things I need you to do. First things first, I want you to go over to Instagram at Overthinking Thoughts Pod and TikTok, same handle, Overthinking Thoughts Pod. And I want you to go ahead and add yourself to both of those, so you'll be able to see clips, updates, things of that nature. Then I want you to be able to go ahead and jump on YouTube and find Overthinking Thoughts Podcast and see the logo that you saw in the beginning. Go ahead and subscribe to that page so you can get the full episode of what I do. If you're not a visual, but you're more audio, then jump on Spotify, Google Podcast, jump on Apple Podcasts, because that's where the podcast flows. Do it the audio way too. Any way that you can support would be great, and I truly appreciate it. Let's see. Before we jump into the new episode, let's just kind of recap real quick. I got a chance to go see my family during Christmas break. So I saw my pops was coaching. I saw brothers and sisters. We were able to kind of like connect and just chill for a change. Like, it was nice to have a nice break and relax a little bit, and be able to see people I haven't seen in a while. So that was really good. It was a good feeling to have. I'd be remiss though if I didn't mention and shout out to a family patriarch. We lost somebody in our family on my brother and sister's side. So shout out to Grandma Ernestine, who was so solid. I mean, she treated us like we were her grandkids, and she was such a major figure just in helping shape and mold my brothers and sisters. And when my grandmother passed, she was there to kind of not necessarily pick up where we left off, but treated us like we were always family. And it was always a good time when we saw her. She was always supportive. She always showed love. So it's sad, that she wasn't able to make it into 2024. But we would be crazy if we didn't celebrate all the things that she done in her life. She was so solid and so good. So I wanted to say that. And, to my brothers and sisters watching, I love y'all. Y'all know y'all got me. So whatever you need, shoulder to crown, you need to vent, whatever, I got you. All right. So Grandma Ernestine, we love you. Okay. So it's 2024. You've made it. Now what? So many people come up with the New Year, New Me slogans, and that's great. Some of you might have started your New Year's resolutions. Maybe you resolate. What was I trying to say? I think I was thinking revelations and resolutions at the same time. Let's rewind back. Some of you have started your New Year's resolutions, such as going to the gym or fasting. Maybe you're doing dry January. Maybe you aren't doing the social media thing, whatever. Like, you found what you want to do, right? And you're so determined to not copy the events of 2023. Or maybe 2023 was a good year and you were doing some growth and you're trying to figure out how do I stay on that same course, right? You're trying to figure out like, well, what do I do? I had such a good year. I want to make sure that it's not wasted on anything else. Okay, cool. So here we are. And I think one of the things that I want to talk about mostly, because I was thinking about this, like in the beginning, and like just think about anything that you ever start, right? So let's say you knew going to church, or you just started your new job, or you just started your new business, or you went and saw a motivational speaker or whatever. And during that time, like in the beginning, you're so on fire and you're thinking about all the things you want to do in your future. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. Yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm so excited. You're motivated, right? And I used to always say this, like, you gotta be motivated to do things. Okay, that's true. But I also think that you have to be disciplined when the motivation runs out. Because let's face it, there's gonna be times where you're not gonna want to get up at 6 in the morning to go do stuff. You're not gonna want to go on to work. Maybe you're not feeling your best and you only want to give half effort. But then you think about everything that you're doing. You think about what you want to go after and what you want to accomplish. And so it's difficult when you don't have the discipline, because the discipline is what gets you through. The motivation is what kind of gets you there, but it's the discipline that's going to take you from point A all the way to the end of the goal. Because it's not necessarily a point A to point B thing when it comes to success. There's going to be some things you got to go through. There's going to be some challenges that come your way. There's going to be some make or break moments. But if you can stay disciplined to what the goal is, and you consistently show up every single day and give it 100%, you're going to reach what's determined for you. Now, on the flip side of things, if you decide to stay stagnant and hope that it just kind of happens, it's not. Like, I can just tell you that now, especially when it comes to this like new year, new me stuff. It's like, new year, now what? So 2024 came. What's going to be different from what you used to do versus what you want to do? What's going to be some of the sacrifices you make? What are going to be some of the goals that you set? What are going to be some of the opportunities you face? Like, are you going to face them and go all the way through, or are you going to give up like you always do? Right? I'm not trying to call anybody out, but if that's you, you know that maybe you need to change your thought, and maybe you need to stop overthinking so much on things that you want to do. Like, when we started this pod, or should I say, when I started this podcast, I always overthought like, well, what if I say this? What if I say that? What if people? Okay, well, if I make mistakes along the way, I'm going to learn how to look at them, analyze them, hold myself accountable, and then grow from it. Very similar to life, right? Like, there's things that we make mistakes on, or decisions that we make that in the moment, like, we thought were great, but then we realize this ain't it. So how do we then build ourselves up from that? How do we hold ourselves accountable from those things? We got to be able to grow, and we got to be able to take the lessons at hand, and then we have to find a way to then build ourselves from that and say, okay, if this is where I want to go, I can't keep making the same mistake over and over again. Like, it's crazy to think that you're going to get different results by doing the same thing. Like, if you go to the gym and all you do is bench press, but you want to grow legs, at some point you're going to have to bring attention to that. So in the areas where we need to grow, we need to bring attention to that. So one of the ways to be new is to be disciplined in everything that you do, whether that is your job, getting, building a relationship with God. Like, I say that because, like, I'm trying to do this thing, the Jesus challenge that I saw on TikTok. Shout out to Madeline Grace, because she's the one I don't know if she like created this thing, but her following is pretty big, and she came up with these ideas, and it's like something that I haven't been 100% consistent with, but it's been more consistent than what I have been before. So although there is that growth, I still want more. Same thing goes with this podcast. I want to grow this thing. Like, I want it to be big because I want to reach people, and it's not so much for notoriety or popularity or anything like that. I just want to reach people in the head. If I can help them, I can help them. Those are personal goals that I've set for myself. But I ask you, in the new year, what are your goals? What are the things that you want to do? Have you put that down on paper or your vision board, or have you, do you have that in front of you that you can see every single day, so that way you don't forget what you're working for when the days are difficult, when depression tries to set in, or if anxiety tries to take over you? Do you have that goal in front of you? Are you still determined to reach your success? Are you still dedicated to the things that you said you were going to do? And if so, how disciplined are you to get through them? Like, how hard are you willing to work, knowing that it's not going to be easy, but at the end, it's going to be worth it? can you stay disciplined throughout the process? That's something you got to think about. And a lot of people, like I said before, they'll scream "New Year, new me." They'll tell you all these good things, but then they won't put their foot forward. In order to make progress, you have to take steps, but you also have to have faith in the steps that you take. You can't take the step and already in the back of your mind doubt everything that you're going to do. Like, you can't say I'm gonna move forward, but keep thinking in a backwards mindset. You're gonna have to challenge yourself. And in 2024, the biggest challenge is not going back to what you did in 2023 that kept you in the same spot. Comfort is easy. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's worth it. And as awkward as it might make you feel, it just might be the move you need to make in order to reach the next level of what you're determined to do. So, thinking about how you overthink or worry or you're anxious about these different things, those are things that you're going to have to like step back and go, all right, this is where I was. This is where I'm trying to be. I can't keep going down that same route. That's just part of the process. Yeah, I've been blessed to see so many years. I mean, it's been a short life, but it's been a good one. Some things have been really great. Some things that I look back on and wish I could change. But then I ask myself, like, if I was to go back and change everything that I did wrong, would I be in the position I'm in today? I can't say that I would be. I have to say that everything that I learned has made me better. Every mistake that I've made, I've tried to build off of. There's still some things that I got to work on. I'm not a perfect man. I know I'm a flawed human being. I just know that I serve a perfect God that can help me get there. But I also got to be disciplined enough to do the things necessary. So it's like those go hand in hand. And sometimes it gets awkward when you have anxious thoughts or you're worried about certain things, especially like if you're doing something new, like there's new things in my job that are about to happen. There's new things that I'm trying to reach. And although it's January, I'm thinking like, okay, well, what about this? What about that? I'm trying not to go too far because the other thing I realize is like all we have is the moments that are with us right now. Like in this moment, like this is what I have. I can't guarantee if I'm gonna have it tomorrow or a next week or a next year. I can't. Now, if it's in God's will, then so be it. In the same breath, I have to be able to take full advantage of what's happening today. And I know that some days are tougher than others. I know that some of you might have limped into the new year. Some of you might have mourned into the new year. Some of you might have crawled into the new year. And you're trying to hold out on hope. You're trying to see where you can go. And it's difficult because the vision isn't quite clear. There's been some fog. There's been some things that you've seen in your past that are in the way of what could potentially be your future. And I encourage those people to keep going and keep striving and to keep pushing. And I know that it's tough. I know that you're in pain. I know that it's difficult. I know you don't want to keep going. But what I would hate for you to do is get so far and stop and turn away when the very next step would have been the breakthrough. And we never know when the breakthrough is coming. We just know that we got to keep going and keep pushing until it happens. And so my encouragement in the new year now what is like, okay, you've made it this far. So now what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your time? What are you going to do with your thoughts? What are you going to do with how you take care of yourself? What are you going to do with controlling others, or not controlling others, but controlling how you react to others? If their attitudes are different from yours, if their beliefs are different from yours, if they treat you differently, how are you going to respond? And how are you going to stand above all of the things that are not of you? Because that's another process. There's going to be so much thrown at you in 2024 that's going to try to take you away from the things that you don't need, especially when you focus. Like, you ever notice when you decide to really stay focused, that's when all the distractions come your way? When you're really not doing anything, the distractions just turn into habits and it's just like a normal thing. But then when you all of a sudden are like, yo, I'm focused, I'm tuned in on what's going on, then all of a sudden it changes, right? It turns into something completely different. Because now every distraction that you can think of is trying to push you off the path. That's not something we want, especially when you're a born leader, when you are the person that's going to break generational curses and you're going to change the way that people see how you move, which will allow them to then take the steps that they need to take. Like, I think that's that's a process that we need to look at and kind of analyze what we do every single day. Because that's a tough part to be, or a tough place to be in life. Um, I also think, and I was thinking about this just with everything that's been happening with family and stuff like that. I go back to the quote that I remember from Pastor R.A. Vernon in Cleveland, who, when he was doing a church service, he was praying for people, and this guy came up and said that he had brain cancer and he was just needing somebody to pray for him. And he pulled him up to the front and was like, "Look, this is what I'm going to tell you. I don't know how much time you got left, or if it's curable, whatever. Like, we know what we want to pray for, but at the same time, we gonna trust that God has you in His plans." And he said, "Don't worry about dying. Worry about living." He said, "Don't worry about what's going to happen. Start focusing on what you have right now and just being in the moment of those days. So that way you're not allowing time to run from you when you're in a season of worry, but instead you could take advantage of every moment you get and build something that's memorable, right? So, worrying about your next steps or your next moves or what could happen, you just got to take it day by day. And it's something that I've learned to do, and it's not easy, but at the same time, it's better for us. So if you're so focused on everything that's supposed to be happening in front of, or happening in the future, you won't be able to see what's right in front of you. And sometimes what's needed to get you to the next step is sitting in front of you, but you're so busy overlooking it that you'll miss out on those things that are very important to your life, that are very vital to your life. And then you end up at the destination confused and unaware of what you're supposed to be doing because you were so focused on getting to that point that you never took the opportunity to stop and appreciate what you had right in front of you on that day. And so many of us miss that because we're trying to catch up to somebody else, or we're trying to compare ourselves to somebody else, or we're trying to be like somebody else. You are original. You are your true, authentic self. You are one of one. And you cheat yourself when you put who you are to the side, trying to be somebody that you were never meant to be. It's so important for you now, if you've never done it before, to find who you are and find your true identity so you can be your authentic self. You can be true to others. And when you present yourself, people can see who you actually are rather than the mask that you're pretending to wear. So at some point, take that mask off. This ain't Halloween. This is real life. Be your true authentic self. And if there's areas where you need to grow, look at those areas and figure out what is it that's holding you back, what's keeping you there, and how can I overcome that? And it's going to be a day-to-day process. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to involve some work. It's going to involve you making some sacrifices, but it's also going to turn you into the person you're supposed to be. And especially now with a new year, a lot of people look at the new year as a new start. And if that's you, then what are you willing to do now? Like, so here you are at the start line, you just crossed it. What's different now? What's new about you? What are you refining? What are you improving on? What are you letting go of? What are you canceling out? Like, these are questions you got to ask yourself in order to like really build yourself up to the next level. Um, I think for me, like, I don't want to compare myself. I find myself looking at other podcasts and being like, man, y'all doing so great. I want to be on that level. Man, if it's meant for me to be there, I'll be there. I know that I have to stay consistent though, because if I just keep worrying about everybody else's and I really get caught up in that comparison game, I'll never do this again. Because there's people that I'm looking, I'm like, man, every time they post a video, they got 100 something views and or 100,000 views. Like, I'd be grateful if I got 20. Like, if I don't appreciate what I'm getting now, I can never appreciate what I'm gonna get later on. Like, I believe that. I believe that this will grow, but I also gotta be cool with what I get now. Like, I remember when I got the first view, I was just like, man, like somebody actually took time to see it. Like, that felt good. Then of course there was that weird moment of like, man, how come I can't get this, or I can't do this, I can't do that, or whatever. I'm like, man, don't worry about all that. Focus on the task at hand that's in front of you. Just do the work and let the rest kind of fall where it will. When opportunities present themselves, then you'll be ready. But if you're not preparing yourself during the process, you never be ready when the finished product is available. So you got to have a little bit of that. Um, I think also, just with the new year, it's a good time to reflect on things like, I mean, obviously, like I said, you have your goals and things that you want, but you should reflect on, like, I think what we forget to do sometimes is give ourselves grace and give ourselves credit for the things that we have done. I'm not saying like dwell on that and just hold on to that, because we can obviously improve day by day. But sometimes we don't even allow ourselves to really be grateful for what we do have, or for what we've overcame. I heard this quote from Shannon Sharp that was so amazing. He said, "I never judge a man by where he's standing because I don't know how far he's come to get there." And I think that's so true for so many of us, that we're embarrassed by where we are currently, because people don't really understand how far we had to come. Like, I might look at you and you might be in a position where I'm like, man, is he ever going to grow? But I don't know if you had to fight off some demons to even get to the point to start thinking about growth. I don't know if you've had to go through certain situations where you had to be the bigger person in a job that, undervalued you. I don't know your story, but I do know that if you're willing to stand and to keep going, what I can guarantee is that if you stay consistent and disciplined, you will get to where you need to be. You will achieve the goal that you set out for. And so, you know, we can't sit back and just and hope that things happen. There's some things we're gonna have to put some action to. Like, it's one thing to have faith. It's another thing to not put any work into the faith. You can say it all day long, but do you really have it? And when it's time to activate it, are you gonna turn to that? And I think it's gonna be a breakthrough year for a lot of people. It's gonna be a year where people are finding out who they really are and start building things and growing and creating the things that the world needs. Like, it's a lot of stuff that we need out here. We need more educators. We need more people that can encourage. We need more people that are going to pick each other up when we're down. We need more people that, when it seems like everything's being thrown at you, you got somebody there that'll still support you to help you get through. Like, there's going to be a lot of those opportunities that come. And you know the avenue that you're supposed to go down. You know what I'm saying? You know the road that's meant for you. I feel like for a lot of us, it's been put on our heart. We just haven't had the belief yet. It makes me think back to little me praying in what was my office, but now my son's room, and thinking about what would this even look like, to now look and see that we've done a lot of episodes, and just trying to be as consistent as possible. I still got my goal in hand of where I want to reach as far as like episodes are concerned, and then evaluate where we are from there. And trying to encourage as best as I can. That's what I know. That's what I feel like God has put in me to try to support and build people up. I also know I need to do that for myself, because it's so easy for me to do it for others and not do it for anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, got to work on that. But I'm blessed to see another year. So I'm going to try to do the best I can with the time that I have. And I hope that you do the same. I hope you don't give up on yourself already and we just started. I hope that you're not doubting, and I hope that you're not already planting that seed of failure by talking negative to yourself and being like, well, it didn't happen last year. I doubt it's going to happen this year. You don't know how close you are to your breakthrough. And it's not meant for you to really know it, because if you did, you might squander the process. You might end up being like, well, I know it's coming, and then get lazy. But what if you were to just keep working and not worry about where the finish line was, and you just kept putting forth your best effort? And then next thing you know, you look up and all that hard work starts to pay off. Don't worry about the end result. Don't worry about, okay, I got to have this, I got to have that. Don't worry about all that. Focus on what you have right now. Build on what you have right now. Improve on what you have right now. So that way, when you do get to that point, not only will you be able to appreciate it more, but you'll know what to do with it once you get there. I just want you to stay encouraged all 2024. 2023 might have been very rough, but you don't have to look back there anymore. You have gone through it, you've survived it, you're still standing. So now that you've done all that, and maybe you're wounded, maybe it was not the easiest thing to do, but you're here. So now what you gonna do with it? What's the advantage now? Like what are you willing to do with the time that's been given to you? What are you willing to do in this moment that's going to help you move forward? That's kind of what I want to leave you with. Um and as usual, my task, cuz I always want to make sure that I leave you with something, right? So, my task as of right now, stay disciplined in what you're doing. Stay disciplined even if you feel discouraged. Stay disciplined even if it seems like the plans that you have aren't necessarily going according to how you saw it. Stay disciplined in your craft. Stay disciplined in building yourself. Stay disciplined in strengthening your weaknesses. Stay disciplined in being true to yourself and finding your true identity. Figure out who you are so that way when you present yourself, it's your true authentic self, not somebody else you're trying to be. Stay disciplined and believing in yourself, because so many times we talk ourselves out of things that are meant for us because we simply don't believe that we're the ones meant for it. Not the case. If it's there for you, it's for you. The only person that could take that away is you. What's meant for you is meant for you, but you got to keep going. You got to stay disciplined. You cannot let anything derail you from what your purpose is. You cannot let anybody destroy what God has already built for you. So stay disciplined and knowing that the work will pay off. The effort will pay off. Staying consistent will pay off. And then when you look a year later, look at how much growth you would have created based on the fact that you stay disciplined to what you were supposed to do. But it starts today, in this moment. So stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your dreams. Stay determined in everything that you do. Do not be discouraged by anything. Stay disciplined and know that God's got you. And if you must know, yes, I'm talking to myself too. That ain't changed, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, I will still have my moments. Like, as much as I'm trying to encourage you all, I'm talking to myself too. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm just trying to be better than what I was. And so with each day, I'm trying to find growth, and I hope you do the same. All right. Welcome to 2024. I pray that it is a blessed year for you and everyone around you. Stay disciplined. Okay. As always, you like what you're hearing, hit me up on YouTube. Go over to Instagram and TikTok at Overthinking Thoughts Pod. Run up the streams on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcast, and introduce somebody new to what we got going on. And if we can continue to grow, who knows where this podcast will take us. It's already grown a lot for me personally, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm thankful for all the new followers that were on TikTok. Thank y'all. For real, because we're almost at 300 over there. So, we're about 15 away. So if you got 15 people, pray that y'all can get us there. So other than that, there's really only one more thing I got to tell you, and that's I believe in you. Now go believe in yourself, all right? It's the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm Ed. We out.
These thoughts up in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.